right? But as you can see, USD had news today, right? At 2 o'clock. As you can see, the rates stayed the same at 4.5, right? And these rates are, these are either rates on your money, right? How much money are you going to get if you put your money inside of a investment account? 4.5%. Or these also are the same rates that are on your mortgage, right? These are mortgage rates. So it stayed the same. So the market still did its thing, still moved volatilely, but it really, kind of like met in the middle, right? And we're gonna go over that because today, and I'll go over some of my trades that I took today on NAS 100. I was actually on the NAS 100 today during the news, and it was, a success. All right, so we like to look at the news, right? See what's going on in the news, but let's see. We're gonna go over USD CAD first, right? So USD CAD. Let's see what it's looking like on. All right. So we did a buy by market, but it actually did look like it did buy by market after 2 days, right? All right, but let's see. All right. It did a buy by market, but it did a W, right? It did a W. If you see this, it's a W. Awesome. It's actually an awesome example of a W formation at the bottom. And then we're going to put the indicator and see where the indicators fall in at, right? Because the indicator should definitely just be a extra confirmation on what you already see. It should not be the buy all be all that's what it's doing. So we got a W right here just from naked eye trading, right? That's a W, right? Then also we also have a W right here as well. We also have a W right here, a small W right here as well, right? Bang. So it's a W, a big W, then it's a little W, right? So it did its thing on that, but we just didn't drag our stop loss low enough, right? If you wanted to stay in the trade. But just like I say, it's a good thing that your stop loss is hit, because when your stop loss is hit, it actually, saves your account. I call it the insurance policy on your account. You got to make sure that you're actually able to trade another day, right? So that's why it's not a bad thing that the stop loss hit. Just like I say, it was our only one for all of the ones that we actually called, and the other ones hit TPs, right? So you also want to look at this actual pattern right here. It's a W, but after the W, right, it has a long candlestick right here, right? Let's look at this candlestick really quick. This candlestick right here is after that push up is suspect, right? And this is on the hour. So this is just showing you on the hour what I see on the hour. But as you can see, as this push up happens, it has to come back down here and get into this zone right here, right? See? It has to get down back into this zone right here. And that's really where it came back down to after it did that big push up. So when you see a lot of volatility push ups in the market, just know that there's always a way to get back in the trade if you miss that actual um, first push from bullish push, right? But as you can see, it retraced back down, and this is just on the hour, looking long term. So you're buying from here, and you're taking it there after it did this big push up, because this push up actually engulfed all of this right here, right? This is engulfing, right? Because it all engulfed this behind it. So that is key. So it engulfed all of this, right? All of this is engulfed, right? If you were to shaded out, right? All that is engulfed by that one candlestick. So that was considered bullish momentum, right? And that bullish momentum continued to push. Now let's look at and put some indicators on here. Oh, let me erase some of these. Erase some of these on here. All right. Maybe put the W back on there. The drawn out W back on there. Right. And the little W, right? Keep that at the little W because you want to see where actually the indicators are coming in at, right? Okay, so this was below the indicator, right? Below the 50. All right, so it's all below. So all was in seller's market pretty much. Still was a seller's market, but so we were able to find these moves in a seller's market, right? Meaning this is the 50-yard line right here, so it actually went back up 50% and could potentially move up here. And if you looked at indices today, the indices today actually was up 1% plus, right? And that's a good thing because indices have been sinking and all that good stuff lately. So that was pretty good to see the big jump in the market today. It's almost like everything's gonna uh, correct itself, right? So let's look right here. So this was USD CAD, and this was the lesson, and we learned the lesson, and we're not going to do it again, right? Now we can't say we're not going to do it again. We may just push our stop loss a little bit lower, or look at it at a larger scale to see where we need to put our stop loss at, right? Or just stick with the 50, right? Stick with the 50 pips, right? So we're gonna go to we did US 30. All right, so the US 30 was a perfect trade, and it could have been a holding trade, right? It could have been a holding trade, but good thing we have our TPs set and they hit, right? Because as you can see, any holders, if you would have held it, it literally came five away, right? So it's a good thing that we have this is why we have our TPs and we have our stop losses set, because we don't want none of that retracing back, right, and scaring us out, right? But this could have been a potential entry re-entry after this TP hit. This could have been a potential re-entry up here, right? Because it dropped back down here, right? So that was the win. That was a win. US 30. Yeah, and then as you can see, the US 30 was definitely bullish today. I'll get erase all that. Definitely bullish momentum on US 30. Let's look at the daily. So the daily was a green candle, right? Previous day was a green candle. All right. Previous day was a green candle. This is where I had like it was a gap or something like it right here. So let's go take a look at that a little bit deeper. It looks like a gap happened. So when the gap happens, it has to fill the gap. All right. So this has to sell down here, at least, because this gap right here, there's a gap right here. So you can trade gaps. You can trade gaps as well, right? This is a gap that happened in the market, and it has to fill that gap. So you currently place a sell, right? You currently place a market execution sell, right? Yep, market execution sell, and we can short this, right? Short this, probably like all the way down here, or you can short it up a little bit more because that's like 50 pips right there. You can short it up to like middle of right here, right? And because it's US 30, you want to make a tight, stop loss. So put your stop loss at 37 right here, right before this point up here is where I'm calculating. So we're gonna do TP1, but we're just gonna do TP down here. Right, we're gonna do TP down here because it has to at least fill that gap up. So let's look at this. All right, so we're doing sell by market. Look, that's a new update. Sell by market. Where we at? 42,000. 03, 4, 034, 73. Oops. 73. What's going on? All right, then we got TP at, right? 42. 41. 41. Oh, no. 96. 17. Then we got stop loss at 42. 72, 40. All right, stop loss. We're gonna play that. All right, so, and we're gonna go to the NAS and check out the NAS. And I wanted to show you something on the NAS as well that actually coincide with my success, right, trading the NAS today. All right, so this is the NAS. If we zoom out. This was our win right here. Win and trade for Monday. We sold by market, right? Sell by market. And we had a 35 pip stop loss on that. So we got a 37 pip stop loss on the US 30 currently, right? And TP's hit, right? Just take those off. Sometimes the indicators can just be really just a lot of noise on your screen, to be honest. But just like I say, they're good for confirmations on certain things, how the market moves. But that was a win. Now let's scroll on over here and see what it's doing currently. All right. What is, matter of fact, I wanted to show you something too on here from earlier today. So, we got it right here. Let's say it was right there. All right, so where I got it at was, first I saw a sell happening, right? I saw the sell happening from right here. So I caught this move right here. And we're gonna confirm and look to see where the higher high and lower low was, where I marked it at. But I just wanted y'all to see about where my lines were and what I actually caught, because it was in a bullish market, right? So which was dangerous, me selling in a bullish market. But if you are confident in your trading, right, you can make money in a bullish market selling, right? So that's what went down today. And then I end up getting money on the bull run around 2 o'clock, right? Because 2 o'clock, even though the interest rates stayed the same, there still was a little bull run that happened, right? So we had a W right here. We got a W right here, right? That's where a W happened. Then we also have these touches right here on the zone right here, which these are the break of this. So this is the break, right, of that top zone. So we know eventually it had to come back down here and touch this zone again, right? So those were good entries right there for buys, re-entries for buys. But right here is where I entered at. It was down here after the sell happened. Yeah, after the sale happened. All right, I caught these pips right here. Yeah, that's about right. Caught those pips right there, and then this right here was a clear sign that the bulls are about to come in, right? Right here. Right here is this candle right here is the clear signal right here. This is where a bell should be going off, right? These two candles right here. All right. Why would these two candles right here be a clear signal, right? Alarm should be going off when you see this thing happen right here. Because as you can see, the next 5-minute candle, even if you missed this one, like your entry candle would have been right here, right? This right here, it would have been your entry candle. Hold up, move this over. All right, this right here would have been your entry candle right here for the buy. Why was that? Why would that be the entry candle, Jeremy? Because it would have had to retrace back down here. It would have had to retrace back down here, right? And that would have been your entry. So the pull down, right? But other people that didn't see this entry, this candle, this formation right here, would have thought that it was going to keep selling, right? There's people that actually got into sales thinking that this red candle right here was about to sell. The next thing was they were thinking that the next one was going to be and it's an easy thing for it to happen to, right? Anybody, it's gonna happen to anybody because it just looked like that's where the market was going. But it's a bullish market, right? How did I know it's a bullish market? Is because before the news or before you will look at the actual pairs and it'll say up a certain percent, right? Up a certain percent on the day. Okay, there we go. All right. So people thought that this was about to happen right here. It was about to sell because it's been selling, right? Came from here, sold down here, could possibly come down here. Easy. But if you are, paying attention to your candlesticks, right? Your candlesticks are telling the story, right? So not only did we see this W, but we also see this candlestick that engulfed the past candlesticks again. So another engulfing happened, right? We just had another example of an engulfing. This is another engulfing, and this engulfing went. If you count up, if you would have entered here, you know, and held the rest of the day. You could have held this the rest of the day, right? You know, dollar lot, give or take $2,800, right? So we're gonna put an alert down here because I think our stop loss might have hit for the other one. We're gonna go check that one, but we're gonna put an alert down here to alert us when price come back down here, because add alert. Yeah, we're gonna add an alert right here to buy, right? We're gonna add an alert to buy, and I'm gonna buy when buy by market when this goes off, filling the gap, right? Gap. Let's get it. All right. All right, so we're gonna let that have that alert go off. We're gonna go back and see what's going on with that trade, because I think that all right. So US 30 stop loss look like it is close or it already hit. So, but we're gonna put an alert down here, right? And we're just gonna wait on this trade, right? We're gonna be patient on this one. All right. Because it still hasn't filled the gap. It just hasn't done it yet. So we want the alert to go off when it's actually filling the gap. All right. Put in there filling the gap. Then we got possible buy, right? From this area. All right. Let's get it. All right, so drop some pairs in the chat too if you want me to look at some pairs, and we'll look at those. But we're still going over these wins. I just wanted to show y'all what I saw on the US 30 and then as with the gaps actually filling, or waiting for them to fill. So we did GBP JPY, right? GBP JPY, let's zoom out. This was another win, right? Another win for the team. So what we did, we bought by market, right? Bought by market at this gray line right here. It never came back down here. TPs hit for 11 pips, right? We could have went 20 pips, right? We could have went, we could have went crazy. We could have went 92 pips, right? You know, these are for our long-term traders that are looking to be in the market a little bit longer, right? But we kept a little bit with 11 pips, but just like I said, you could have stretched it out to 90 pips and cleared a $900 bag, right? That's nice. Awesome. So that was a win. All right. It's down at some zone. We're going to check that out. Check that out. All right. We did Europe JPY as well. Zoom out. Okay, we got a GU in the chat. Okay, all right. So this right here was a win as well. See, and yep. So this right here was a win. Let's see here. Okay. All right. This right here was our win. And we could have stretched this one all the way up to still stretch this one all the way up to 96. Yeah, 96 pips. So they ran about up the same, right? You're up, JPY. TP's hit. We'll clear this out. Clear this out. Then we have AUD USD. We did AUD USD, right? And we have a win for AUD USD because our stop losses was up here. We had a 15 pip stop loss, which it never reached. And TP's hit down here, right? Now, if you look, we could have sold from up here or where we was at, right? And then dragged all the way down. If we were long-term traders, we could have dragged all the way down here. That's 59 pips, right? Could have got a 59 pip bag. So with a dollar lot, that's $600 to $590, right? Just easy calculations. And you can easily do a dollar lot on USD because it's not as volatile, or no, the spreads are really cheap on AUD USD. So, that was a winning trade. Just like I say, majority of the time in those trades on Monday, it looks like you could hold them if your patience is, if you have really good patience, discipline, and consistency, right? Because that's the key things of being a successful trader is consistency, discipline, and patience. So make sure you practice those three principles, right? So what is it doing currently? Oh man, look at this. Look what's going on here. It's a lot going on right here. But it dropped from this zone up here. Let's see where that zone is. Did we mark that zone last time? Probably marked that zone. That's probably previous day, right? Yes. So that was previous day, right? That was this previous day. But that sell by market was all the way up here, right? And look where it's at now. So, and I believe this one is going to close solid. I believe that one may close solid red on the daily, to be honest. Because, yeah, resistance, right? Resistance. Never broke that daily high, right? Never broke this daily high. It came up there and touched that daily high, but it continued to drop, right? So that was a beautiful trade. Beautiful sell by market trade, right? Let's see. Clear this out. That's awesome. All right. Cool. All right, let's see. Let me check the chat. Let's see what's going on in the chat. All right. Yes, bullish engulfing. Awesome. Live to trade another day. Oh, you like that? Yeah. Put drop what you wanna what kind of pairs you wanna well, I'm gonna look up GU, right? Got one for GU, right? What's good? Let's go. G. Okay, so as you can see on the daily, right? We marked up this. When we marked up this, the last time. But it still has to come back down here and touch this zone, right? Because from here to here is a gap, right? That has to be filled, right? So it has to at least come back down here and touch the zone, regardless of whatever it's doing up here. Whatever it's doing up here still has to come back down here. So you can put an alert down here. Put an alert right here. Yeah, that's why I like putting alerts on TradingView, because the alert will go off probably a couple days later, and be like, okay, then you're ready to get into the trade. Then it's not like we're looking for the trade to do something and it's already in that zone and doing its thing, right? So alert. What alert name we gonna put here? We're gonna put gap, right? Fair value gap being filled. Being filled, right? Possible buy, buy, market, right? It means buy right now, but we're not buying this right now. This is gonna be inside the alert. Um, but what we can do is that's a really small, and GU has a really small daily candles, right? Not much body on them. Not much body on these candles, so ain't much going on. But if you look left, that big candle right there is bullish momentum, right? Because that candle before the two little red ones was a bullish engulfing candle, right? That is a bullish engulfing candle. Um, so yeah, that's a bullish engulfing candle right there. As you can see, it came down like 50% of the bullish engulfing candle and bought. So good entries down here, right? And that was previous day. So let's see. All right. So let's zoom out and see what's going on. Yep, just inside this zone, really. Trading inside this zone right now. The hour, not really. So I would say on the hour, it probably will go down here. Right? I'm looking at the space between the shadows, right? That's really what I'm looking at, the space between the shadows. So the space between the shadows will be right here, right? So we're gonna put in a we're gonna put in a awesome. Let's go. We're gonna go down to the 5 minutes. See what it says. All right. Just keep your eye on GU. GU just really is not gonna really move until later on, right? Around 3:30 or so. 3:30 or so. Okay, AU. We'll go back to AU then. Awesome. But we're gonna put an alert down here, right? It's actually another one right here. All right. So I'm just looking at. So this one right here probably is more accurate than this one because this right here literally came back down here. This came back down here. So we're going to delete this one, right? There we go. All right. So we can go sell by market on this. Sell by market. We're gonna put our stop loss above. Sell by market on GU. We are going short on GU. But we're gonna put our stop losses up here. We probably put it at 15. 15 pips to 50 pips. Right? And we're gonna drag this all the way down here. We'll do 34 pips on that. All right. And we're gonna go to the AU after this one. All right. So stop loss. Zoom out. All right. I'll keep an eye on those tonight. Be selling my market on that. Shouldn't push past the zone, but if it does, it's okay. You know, just breathe. And we're gonna put an alert down here that says TP hit, right? TP hit and possible buy. TP hit and possible buy. All right. There we go. All right. So AU. All right. So and this is where I'm looking for GU to drop, right? AU already dropped because AU is moving right now. As you can see, AU went down to the zone where, in fact, let's just go to the daily high, right? Let's look at the daily high. I mean, the daily candle, previous day. Let's box that in, right? Let's do this, right? All right. So, just like I say, this is the same thing that looked like when we was looking at GU, right? Because they move similar. And as you can see, I like to call this the stairway, right? You know, I like to call this the stairway right here. Or we got an M right here. We got an M, right? But then I call this a stairway after that. Stairway, right? Dropping. And we continue to drop. Let's back that up. So we got the M. As you can see, it was at the top of the zone. So higher high, lower low. We got the perfect high high, lower low, right? It all meets up with the indicator. And we have down here is where we had that gap, right? So really looking for it to buy down here, right? After this hour, I'll probably more likely be looking for AUD USD to buy. Now, unless it drops below the zone right here. But other than that, that's what it looks like. It looks like it could buy from that zone. But GU has to pull down to that zone. See what I'm saying? So because this big engulfing candle right here, there's always right now this right here is filling this gap right here. See this gap right here? This gap right here is being filled right here. See? And it already filled it. So even if it doesn't push back down here, the market has completed what it has to complete, right? But as you can see, large engulfing candlesticks like that, it has to come back down and fill that gap. So you could play different moves off of that gap. Awesome. Let's get it. So we're on the hour. Let's look down on the 5 minute, right? What are we looking at on the 5 minute? Let's take all these indicators off. Take all those indicators off. Zoom out. Zoom out. Yeah, so I saw another one once I got downtown here. So this right here has to be filled, right? Now, unless it wasn't filled on the 1 minute. Was it filled on the 1 minute? Was it filled on the 1 minute? No. Was not filled on the 1 minute. See? So we're gonna put, so those two have to be filled, right? This one was filled. This one still has to be filled. So we could do sell by market on AUD USD. We're gonna go short on that down to that gap, okay? Short position. Short position. We're gonna do, we can do 15 pips stop loss, right? Because it shouldn't go all the way up there to 15 pips. But 15 pips stop loss. Zoom out. We'll zoom out. All right. So we're gonna drag this down to, we're gonna drag this down here. And we're gonna drag this down to 12 pips. All right. Oh, you should be in profit. All right. Sell by market. And where we at? 0.6. Oops. 0.63373. All right. We got TP at 0.63245. Stop loss, right? See, look, it's always gonna pull back to your entry just to play around with you. That's where the emotional intelligence comes into play. 63525. All right, sell by market, right? AUD USD. Sell by market. GU. Let's check GU really quick. All right, we're still good on GU, right? We should be in profit on GU. Looking for it to come down here. What's the NAS 100 and all that good stuff doing? All right. Well, could be the drop we're looking for on the NAS, right? Because look, we have an M. We have an M pattern that just formed on the NAS. So let's see what that does. Oh, that's an M on the 1 minute. See what it's doing on the 5 minute. See what it's doing on the 5 minute. 5 minute looks like an M as well. And it's at the top of this zone right here, right? So that could be the retracement back down to fill up that gap. Let's see what US 30 doing. US 30. Yep. Did an M at the top of our stop loss, right? Did an M at the top of our stop loss. So we were just in it too early. Literally in it too early. So, but now it's up at this zone and possibly doing a M at the top of the zone, right? So, there you go. But still has to fill this gap. So we're gonna wait around and see what's going on with it. Look at that. Awesome. Thank you for everybody for tuning in tonight. Just like I said, man, every time you show up for class, look at that, the sale about to come in for the M. Every time you show up for class, you're gonna get some value from it. If not, make some money, right? Let's see. Yeah, so these little valleys right here, peaks, these peaks, right? Those are called the retracements. Downtrend, but it got the retracement. See that? Right? What I call the stairways, right? Stairway going down or the stairway going up, right? So be looking for all. Let's see what this is. See, like doing this pretty much the same thing as you can see. JPYs pretty much do the same thing, right? Because it has the same in currency, right? Same currency at the end. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Peace, peace.